Hello sports fans, welcome to Super Sports Central. Today we have my Week 8 USFL Power Rankings, or Power Rankings after Week 7. So last week's Power Rankings, I had 8 was the Maulers, 7 was the Gamblers, 6 was the Panthers, 5 Bandits, 4 Stars, 3 Breakers, 2 Generals, and 1 Stallions. So this week's rankings. So remaining at number 8, we have the Pittsburgh Maulers. So the Maulers and Gamblers were battling for the 7th spot. The Maulers are going to remain at number 8 because of terrible play calling in the loss to the Stallions. There were several calls I disagreed with, especially going for a field goal on 3rd and 2, which was a 52-yard field goal. I would always try to get the touchdown and then the field goal rather than field goal then touchdown. So they're going to need better play calling. And also another decision is, why would you take out quarterback Vadley, who has led you on a comeback each of the last 2 weeks when you're only down 10 points, and instead put in Ronald Rivers, who you've never seen what he can do. It's not like it's a blowout. You have a chance to come back from the game. And Vadley has shown he can lead you back. He even led you back in a win one time. So, Maulers at number 8, they're going to need much better play calling and game management and stuff like that if they're going to win games. 7, we have the Gamblers. They still can't close out games. They were outscored 22-0 in the 4th quarter. So, they were up 24-13 headed to the 4th. And for, every game, they've allowed some sort of comeback. And they now fall to 1-6 on the season, losing, I believe, their 6th in a row because they can't close out games. Number 6 is the Panthers. So, the Gamblers did beat the Panthers in Week 1, but I feel like the Panthers look better. They waived quarterback Shea Patterson, who was the first overall pick during the week. They started Josh Love, the former Mauler quarterback, who led them to overtime against the Breakers. They did not play that well in overtime, but still they gave one of the better teams in the USFL a pretty good game, forced them to go to overtime, even though overtime was not so good for them. So they're definitely improving. They're showing signs of improvement, even though they're not getting the win. So Panthers at number 6. Number 5, we have the Tampa Bay Bandits. They lost to the Generals and fell further out of a playoff spot in the South. They almost tied it on a 4th down pass in the end zone, but it was broken up. They could make the playoffs, but they're not helping themselves, as obviously they're going to need to win, as they have to make up 2 games in 3 weeks against the Breakers. So, the Bandits, there's still a chance. It's just becoming more unlikely by the week because they're not winning. Number 4 is the Stars. As I mentioned when I was talking about the Gamblers, they used a huge 4th quarter to beat the Gamblers. They solidified themselves as the clear number 2 team in the North, although they have not officially clinched a playoff spot yet. They're definitely headed in that direction. Number 3 is the Breakers. They needed overtime to beat the Panthers, but they did extend their lead on the Bandits for the 2nd spot in the South Division with a win, and the gap is now up to 2 games. And they're also going to have a chance to potentially close the divisional gap with the Stallions and hand the Stallions their first loss of the season when they face off head-to-head this weekend. Number 2 is my favorite team, the Generals. They're coming off a win against the Bandits without quarterback DeAndre Johnson. He suffered an injury Week 6 against the Gamblers. You can make your argument for Generals at 1 because they lost in Week 1 and they've improved every week since. But without DeAndre Johnson at the moment, I'm not comfortable putting the Generals at 1. And I mean, the Stallions, they've beaten every team in the USFL. And the Stallions are at number 1. They're the only undefeated team. They've beaten every team in the USFL. They've clinched a playoff spot. The other team that clinched a playoff spot is the Generals. So the top 2 teams in my power rankings have clinched playoff spots. The Stallions and Generals look like they're on a collision course for a title rematch. And hopefully we get to see that in the championship game, because I have a feeling that would be a really good rematch because they played a really good first game of the season. So the Stallions are atop my Week 8 USFL power rankings again. So make sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Let me know who you have, if you agree, disagree, and why. And not sure if you guys noticed, but my power rankings actually remained exactly the same as last week, because I just didn't feel like any teams were worthy of moving up or down. So like, subscribe, comment. I do my best to post as often as possible, and I will see you in the next video.